Hi, I'm Dan Bryant and welcome to the first series of Real Impact, the new podcast where we explore how organisations communicate with creativity and impact. In this episode, we're unpacking employer brand, bringing some meaning to the term and uncovering its superpower. Joining me today is Kate Johnston, Employer Brand Manager at Carnival UK. Carnival UK is part of the Carnival Corporation, the biggest travel and leisure company in the world, though you may know them better by their brands Cunard and P&O Cruises. Kate is a strategic communications and marketing professional with a strong background in brand development, audience engagement and employee experience. She plays a key role in shaping how the organisation attracts, supports and retains talent for both shoreside and on-board roles. In this conversation, we'll explore why employer brand is about experience and not just attraction. We'll look at the role of storytelling at the heart of employer brand, the importance of employer-led content in building trust, and how to demystify life behind the scenes. We'll touch on why localised content matters, especially across cultures, and explore how a blended approach, top-down meets bottom-up, can create real impact. This is an intriguing look behind the scenes of employer brand at a tight-knit but global team of passionate people. We hope it inspires you and that you pick up transferable ideas and solutions. Kate, welcome to the Real Impact podcast. I'm really thrilled to have you here with me today to talk about employer brand. Before we get into things, can you just start by introducing yourself, please?
Yep. Hi, Dan. Thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Kate Johnston and I am Employer Brand Manager at Carnival UK. My career to date to get me to Employer Brand Manager, I've got a background in copywriting, in brand, in internal comms, and I've done all of those jobs at Carnival UK because I've been there for 18 years. So previous to that, I've worked in travel, I've worked in the hospitality sector, I've sold bedding to hotels was one of my first jobs, but I've kind of naturally landed into a marketing internal comms kind of brand role. So it's where I am now.
Excellent. So I'm going to start things off with quite a big question. What is employer brand?
It is a big question, Dan. I think employer brand is your reputation externally to people who are looking for jobs. Very much like brands want to sell their products, their services. Employer brand is you wanting to sell your company as somewhere to come and work for as an employer. It's very much about the gives and the gets that people can enjoy when they're working for companies, and it encompasses everything from the culture to the reward to benefits, and it's completely unique to every business, and it's not always a tangible thing to kind of talk about and to promote.
It's obviously quite broad, everything that sort of feeds into it. And you mentioned over your career you've done a bit of copywriting, marketing, comms. How have all of those different disciplines, I suppose, well, number one, how do they feature in employer brand as a focus area, and also like how do they benefit you? What skills have they given you that make you a great employer brand manager?
I guess it's kind of understanding all the elements of employer brand, because you've got your brand, the product that you're trying to sell in there. Obviously, from a copywriting perspective, is you want to do the best, and with marketing, really, at promoting the product, promoting the company. And I think having done all of those in Carnival UK has been brilliant for me because of the network I've made around Carnival. So I'm very lucky that having spent 18 years there and moved around the departments, I've met so many different people with so many different skill sets that actually now in an employer brand role, when we are wanting to do various campaigns about things, I've got an incredible network of people around the business that I can go, right, we want to do a benefits campaign. Oh, I know that my friend Catherine uses the chiropractor and I can reach out to her. Also working with internal comms as well. It's kind of a really great way of going. Actually, you can see when there is opportunities for internal messages to be edited and transferred into the external market as well. So I think having that background has just been, it's kind of a skill set that I've learned. I'm not a qualified marketeer. I don't have qualifications in any of the disciplines that I practice. It's learned, and it's what I've developed working with really great people over the years.
But there's a big part in storytelling and talking about what you're doing. Is that fair to say?
People are the biggest assets in a company, and if you want to promote your culture and you want to promote what it's like to work in a business, you've got to tell the stories of the people that are there, not only just from a spotlighting on people when you've got incredible individuals, but also we use people a lot of the time as well for kind of promoting our benefits, promoting our processes as well. So we've done a benefits campaign recently, and what we do is we'll reach out to colleagues around the business that are using the benefits to get their perspective on it, for them to share how they're enjoying the benefits, how they are using them the best. And we've also used people for process as well. So when we've done our performance process, rather than just using somebody senior to get the message across what needs to be achieved, we will reach out to colleagues to talk through the performance process. And working closely with internal comms, it means that actually the content we capture can be cut two ways. So we can use it for internal instructional, so colleagues know what's expected of them as part of the performance process, but then we can use it externally from an employer brand perspective to go, these are the performance is one of the things you've got great opportunities at work. And it's not just using the senior leaders, as I said, it's using the experts as well. So if we're doing learning promotion, we'll have the learning team front of centre, promoting the opportunities that you've got for learning and development at work. So yeah, it is kind of absolutely the storytelling and also putting the people at the centre.
And thinking about that from a creative standpoint, what different mediums do you use to help with that, aid that storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, we use all the channels and lots of different formats for our content. But I think anything, going back to the people thing, anything with people in really resonates. We, from like on social media, for example, we can use imagery that colleagues have shared with us about various things. And then we obviously will use an awful lot of video content as well. So when we want to do spotlights on roles, or we want to talk about various things, we want to do general overview videos of, what life is like on board, what it's like working in a particular department. Having that written down in copy or having a few photos doesn't bring it to life quite as much as having a video does. Working in the cruise industry, because Carnival UK is the operating company for P&O Cruises and Cunard. So working in the cruise industry, it can be quite an unknown for people going and living and working at sea. So we've found video content has been really, really helpful in helping people understand what to expect when they are getting on board the ships. They can kind of see the areas that they're going to be living and working. They can see, the types of colleagues that they're going to be working with. We've even done a video with G&B recently, which is the colleague journey from getting off the airplane at the airport all the way through, catching the coach down to the terminal, check-in, going on board the ship, meeting your colleagues in your department. And that for somebody, when you're starting a new job, which is completely unknown, you're going to be living and working on board a ship away from family. That kind of content is absolutely invaluable.
Excellent. So you mentioned P&O Cruises and Cunard, and they're two brands that sit under the operating company of CUK. So you've got CUK and colleagues that work in the office and maybe some remote teams, and you've got the Cunard and P&O brands, and that sort of covers all of the crew at sea. So you've got three very distinct brands and audiences. How, in your role, are you creating a sort of unified experience and employer brand proposition?
If we go a bit further back, we're part of an even bigger company. So we're part of Carnival Corporation, which is the world's largest cruise company. And Carnival Corporation on 8 different cruise lines, of which P&O Cruises and Cunard are 2 of them. And part of that is also you've got the operating companies like Carnival UK, and then you've got support functions as well, like Carnival Shipbuilding, that work across all of the brands. Carnival Corporation is like a house of brands, and Carnival UK is a house of brands in a house of brands, so it gets around quite complicated. But from a corporation perspective, we all share the same purpose, which is to create unforgettable holiday happiness, and we all share the same values, which we call our culture essentials. So we're kind of united by those ones across ship, shore, all the brands. So what we've done at Carnival UK is to kind of go, actually, when we did our EVP work, which was quite a few years ago now, was to look at something that was broad enough to work across shore colleagues in the office for Carnival UK, and also fleet colleagues for P&O Cruises and for Cunard. So we developed an EVP where actually you could then pull out proof points and things that you could then relate to the specifically ashore, specifically on the ships as well. And actually we're taking that a step further at the minute, and we're doing a TVP, so we're doing a targeted value proposition, which is kind of a iteration of our EVP. So we're looking at specifically for shore colleagues, what the culture that we've got in the office, shore side, our pillars, what are our strengths, that kind of thing. And then we'll be doing the same for Cunard and for P&O Cruises. So actually it's really clear to a colleague coming in that actually you're joining Carnival UK, but this is what your experience is going to be like in the office, this is what it's going to be like ashore.
I didn't realise it was so complex, the sort of landscape of it all. And then another sort of complexity is if we take the crew and colleagues at sea, you don't recruit them yourself, do you? So you use agents in various countries around the world.
Yeah, we do. We use a lot of global talent partners, but we also do recruitment in-house as well.
So with the global talent partners, how do you influence them? How do you make sure you're recruiting to align to your culture essentials, and so that everything within your EVP that you look for with Carnival House colleagues? What does that relationship look like? Yeah,
so we have to work quite closely with the global talent partners, and what we are doing at the minute, the targeted value proposition that we're creating, is one of the ways that we are helping them to really understand what it means to work on a P&O Cruises ship, what it means to work on a Cunard ship, so that then they can obviously really help the people that they recruit to understand what the lived experience is going to be. So we can be quite specific with them in things like creating assets for them, like templates for social media, that kind of thing, because obviously from a brand perspective, you've got to make sure as an employer brand that we are representing the brands as well, because we obviously have brand standards and brand guidelines that we need to make sure are being adhered to when all of our content is going out. But what's really important as well is making sure that there is like nationality specific content for our global talent partners. So we've got global talent partners in India, in Malaysia, in South Africa. So one of my tasks the last year or so has been to create content and to gather content, photography and video, working with DMB to create the video content, to make sure that the global talent partners have got content that has got nationality appropriate people in there. So you're recruiting out of India, it's no good having just content that's got one nationality in it or Europeans in it, when actually we want to show that there is such a broad mix of nationalities on board our ships. And I think that's been really key, is to kind of we check in regularly with them and to just kind of equip them and empower them so that they can do a lot of the stuff themselves, but to really educate them on going, actually, this is who we are, what we stand for, what the experience is like.
And then, so you mentioned the language piece. Are there other things you have to consider, I suppose, around the broader employee experience from a cultural sort of standpoint?
Yeah, so everybody on our ship speaks English. and we do all of our campaigns and employer brand content in English. But for a lot of people, we have over 60 nationalities on our ships. English is a second language. So we've got to be really mindful, externally and internally as well, that we are absolutely using plain English. Sentences short and sweet, making sure there is no idioms, puns in there, things like, well, spill the tea, break a leg. It means it doesn't translate well into a second language. And interestingly, on social media as well, emojis can be really offensive in some cultures. So we have to be really careful what emojis we put on things that go out on our social channels.
And it's going back to about employer brand as a sort of strategic initiative. How much of a difference does a top-down versus bottom-up approach make to employer brand?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. Obviously, from a top-down perspective, the business knows what it needs to achieve, and very much we need to ensure that the culture reflects the ambitions of the company. However, you have got to obviously recognise what the lived experience is of colleagues. And I don't think you can have either or. I think it absolutely is a mix of both. And you've got to work together across all levels of a business to actually make change and to achieve what you want to achieve. We at Carnival UK have got really clear ambitions. We've got a 10-year strategy. We know where we're going, and together we know how we're going to get there. And we've got strategic culture enablers that we're putting into place that will actually help colleagues, really empower them to make a real difference and to really see the impact that they're making.
I suppose the internal culture matching what you're putting out to the world and what you're saying about your culture, whether that be in recruitment or other comms. How do you do that at CUK?
I mean, insight for us is absolutely key. So to truly understand what the culture is like at Carnival, when we first did our EVP, we consulted countless colleagues to understand their experiences of working at Carnival UK ship and shore. Met with people across all role levels, so our junior roles, our senior leaders, completely different demographics of colleagues as well, to kind of have a real understanding of what they thought were the best bits, the bits that needed to be improved working at Carnival UK. And that helped us create the EVP that was reflective across CUK, P&O Cruises and Cunard. And we validate that regularly, 2-3 times a year. We have a pulse survey, culture survey in the office, and life on board survey on our ships. So that is a check-in to go, actually, please tell us, we need your feedback completely anonymously. What's working, where can we do better? And we take that feedback and we look at, shifts that need to be made, how we can make changes to the culture to help achieve those, that kind of thing.
And then with those surveys, do the results and insights go to different levels within the organisation to make the changes that they can action and they can influence?
Yeah, so we have a group of representatives at Carnival UK, employee experience groups, EEG, and what they do is the results from our culture surveys, this is for shoreside, the results from our culture surveys will go to the EEGs within the departments. They work with their senior leaders, they will create action plans to make improvements where needed, to seek more feedback, that kind of thing. And I think it's really important from a business to go, actually, if you've got some localized things that need to be looked at, or some localized examples of things that are going really well, it's great to learn more about them, to then obviously bring them into the broader business. I'm part of the culture team. And within the culture team, we've got employer brand, we've got insights, and we've got internal comms. So we are brilliantly set up to be able to go, actually, let's listen to the business, let's get the feedback, what is happening out there at the minute, do we need to course correct, do we need to drive real change, what should we be doing more of, and then we can shout about it, like internally and externally as well.
Excellent. And what's the interlink or relationship between a culture team and, say, the brand and marketing teams?
So I think from an employer brand perspective at CUK, we are built on our brands. So we've got the legacy of P&O Cruises and Cunard, and that's the reason why Carnival UK exists, because of the two brands. They've got their rich heritage, and we absolutely need to leverage that. So we will use a lot of brand-led content as well as colleague-led content in employer brand activity. So when we are doing activity on social media, for example, we get really great engagement when we've got people's stories that we're sharing, but we get as much engagement, sometimes more, when we tell brand stories as well, because people are really proud to work for P&O Cruises and Cunard. They are well-known brands around the world. We did a lot of content recently when Queen Anne joined the Cunard fleet, and the interactions that we get on social media of people commenting, sharing, just proud to be part of such a cruise line which has got such rich heritage is brilliant to see, and it makes my job a lot easier when actually, as a employer brand, the brands are so well known. So it's actually a case of come and work for these amazing brands.
Is there a difference between the two brands in terms of, obviously Cunard is 185 years old. P&O, I don't actually know how old, but it's got to be quite old with Pacific and Oriental, right?
Yeah.
So is there a people more proud of Cunard or P&O Cruises? Sorry, should I add?
I mean, I can't choose a favourite. It's like having kids, isn't it? You can't pick
I know
a
what your
favourite.
favourite one is.
But yeah, there absolutely is a difference. From an employee experience perspective, it's very similar on board both ships from like a benefits perspective, but the service programs are completely different. So Cunard has White Star service and P&O Cruises has Shine. So part of the employee experience is kind of, the employer brand essentially is our service programs. So we kind of want to make sure that when colleagues and potential talent are looking for, I want to work on P&O Cruises ship, want to work on a Cunard ship, they can really understand that actually, these are our standards, our expectations, our values right from the offset. Living and working on board, it's very similar. We have at Carnival UK a lot of dual brand teams, departments. The people team that I'm part of is a dual brand team. So we work across P&O Cruises and Cunard, whereas the brand teams, the marketing teams, they are either P&O Cruises brand marketing and Cunard brand marketing. So from a people perspective, we kind of make sure that actually if something's working well on one ship, we make sure it works well on another ship as well.
Going back to CUK, you have network groups, don't you? Different networks. Can you tell me a bit about those, please?
Yeah. So we've got employee-led networks within Carnival UK, and these have been set up by colleagues for colleagues with the support of the HR team. So it's very much a colleague-led program. So we've got 4 networks at the minute, employee-led networks, race and ethnicity, LGBTQIA, Empower, which is health and disabilities, and Athena, which is gender balance. And then we also have communities as well, which are communities are more of like shared experiences. So we've got MVP, which is military veterans and partners group. We've got a parent group as well. And we've also just started a like new to CUK groups. And from a business perspective, they are a brilliant resource for us as a listening tool for the business, just to, hear how people's experiences are across different, nationalities, characteristics, that kind of thing. But externally as well, they do a brilliant job in, being the voice of their community externally. So we, from an employer brand perspective, absolutely will leverage these people. They're already posting on LinkedIn. They're really active around the business, but they're brilliant spokespeople as well for the business. So we've done a series of networks videos, which are shared internally, so colleagues can understand more about the networks. But then we'll go on the careers websites. We'll use them in social media just to say, look, we've got this group of people here at Carnival UK. Come and join us.
Going back, so I'm jumping around a bit, but going back to your EVP, do you have internally, is there an equivalent of that purpose for, from an employer brand perspective?
I mean, that is the purpose, that is the purpose of everybody, is to create unforgettable holiday happiness. And we use a phrase which is together we're Carnival UK. So it's very much reinforcing the fact that actually everybody talks about all the time unforgettable holiday happiness, which is brilliant because it's just second nature to everybody to know that the guests have to be front and centre. Everything we do is to create that holiday happiness for our guests. And together we're Carnival UK was introduced last year to, just remind people and reinforce the message that actually us working together, collaboration is key. And between the people in our business, I mean, there's nearly 1,800 people in our office, and they are absolute experts in all of their disciplines. And we're unified in going, together we can achieve absolutely anything. So yes, unforgettable holiday happiness is internally. We talk about it externally, but we don't go out there and go, Cunard creates unforgettable holiday happiness. P&R Cruises does. It is much more of an internal.
And you talk about it a lot, don't you? With what I've seen, that you have big sort of all company updates, and there's other internal comms channels you use, and it's sort of plastered everywhere. You can see, but it is like some companies have visions and people don't really know what they are, but you really get the sense at CUK that everyone not only just understands it, but is working towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love to celebrate holiday happiness of colleagues as well. So we work for a cruise company, but we all love cruising as well. So we are cruise nerds. Dan, I think you're turning into a cruise nerd as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we love to get on board and we love to have our holidays, and we every year we'll celebrate colleagues' holiday happiness. So we ask people to send in photos of them being away on our ships, brilliant experiences they've had, and that is like gold for employer brand content as well to then share externally. I mean, people choose to have milestone moments on the ships. People get married on the ships, celebrate anniversaries, go away with their family for family celebrations and things. So you think actually, if you're choosing to do that as an employee of a company, you're choosing your product for your big moments in life. It's a huge testament to how much people love working at Carnival UK.
Absolutely. And then my final question is, thinking about your time in your role, is there a project or initiative that you've worked on that really sums up what the CUK employer brand is?
I think for me, it's every time I meet our people, because the people at Carnival UK and on the ships are amazing, and it brings me absolute joy to chat to them and find out more about their lives, and they're so passionate about what they do. They absolutely are the most interesting people, warm people, great stories to tell. The culture at Carnival UK and in the office and on the ships is just so inviting and inclusive, and we enjoy chatting to each other and finding out about what we do. Everybody's got brilliant stories of how they got to where they are. Meet people on the ships. When we've been filming on the ships, they just love to talk to you about their family back home, their interests, that kind of thing. And they just, couldn't be more welcoming. So to me, I think it's anything with people. And when they're talking, they're using all the buzzwords, the keywords that we want people to use from an employer brand perspective, just really naturally. So it's so authentic when you talk to them. If it was a tangible project, I think it would probably be working with our onboarding teams last year. We've done a whole big new to see piece. So what we recognised was that actually people were getting on board our ships not really knowing what to expect about living and working at sea. So as part of the onboarding piece and also as part of the recruitment piece, we've created a crew hub, which has got really loads of detailed information on about what to expect living and working on the ship, the benefits that it brings, the travel, the video that we did as part of that. Also things like, what visas you might need, what documentation you need to think about, what you need to pack, that kind of stuff. And that was a really great example of going, actually, if you're promoting a business, sometimes it's the practical things. You just need to go, actually, we need to set expectations of what to expect joining a company. And this was a really tangible way of doing that, of going, actually, it's online, it's a hub, people can go and explore more about it.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Kate. It's been really good chatting to you. Appreciate your time. Before we end, I do actually have one more question, and I'm asking this to everyone who sits there. It's about your job. So can you tell me what you love about your job and what's the hardest thing about your job?
I've already said people. I love the people perspective of my job. It's just brilliant to meet with colleagues, find out about them, chat to them. Yeah, I like to collect friends wherever I go, build my network. So people are definitely the best bit of my job. The most challenging bit, I think, is that there is so much to shout about. It's how to do that in a really strategic way. There's so much great stuff going on and out there. You just want to grab hold of everything you hear and you want to go, oh my God, we need to tell people about this. This is amazing. This will be a brilliant story. This is a great benefit. We need to do it. But it's actually then making sure that it's done in the best way that will support getting the right types of colleagues within the business and will help to support the business ambitions and things like that. So yeah, I'd say there's just too much good stuff at Carnival UK to shout about.
Thanks so much, Kate, for sharing everything. There's lots you do, and you work in a really unique industry with lots of unique challenges. But what I've drawn and got from our conversation is that there's lots of transferable things as well. So although the subject matter of cruising and people living and working on board is very unique, the approaches, I think, can be transferred to many different industries, and so lots in our conversation that people can take some value from. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Dan.
And I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, love to.
You can find more episodes of Real Impact on your favourite platform. Follow us on socials and check out our website for more.